welcome to the show, This Week in BS. We haven't had like a regular This Week in BS in a while because, the Rona and stuff turned everything upside down. But here we are today with Nervardia. Thank you for being here.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
This is fun. So, you want to tell everybody who you are, where to find you, what you love, what you know, all that?
Okay, well, my name's Meredith. My channel's name is Nervardia, but you can call me Nervardia because most people do. I am doing science and atheism and a little bit of, you know, advocacy as well for a whole heap of things. You can find me on YouTube and you can find me on Facebook, but try not to contact me through there because I very rarely go on it. But if you want to contact me, you'll find me on Twitter, which is at Nervardia.
Yes. And her links are in the description. So, hop on those, click, follow, subscribe, all of those lovely things.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So, a few days ago, I was on your channel because we were watching some garbage, just
Was it ever?
it was hot garbage that was pretending to science really hard. So, it's you want to tell everybody a little bit about that fun stuff there.
Well, I think Mel and I almost had an aneurysm during the whole time. So basically, if you don't know who Praga U is, congratulations, you lived a charmed life. But for those of you who do know who Praga U is, they are basically a propaganda mill for pseudoscience, for right-wing stuff. It's not particularly well researched, and and this guy came on, Dr. Burke or Berkey. Did we ever figure out what he was called?
I think it's Dr. Barkey or Bark. If you look at the thumbnail, that's him sitting in, Dr. Barke. You can find, and I've been tagging him on Twitter to see if he has any kind of response. I usually do that because I want hey, I have things to say about your stuff. I'm just letting you know. Not try to troll or be mean or anything, but usually that gets me a block. That's what happened with John Edwards, the grifter who talks to dead people for money. He blocked me immediately. So it's come on, man. But Dr. Barkey, Barke, yeah. I guess we just call him Dr. B. And then if you watch Saturday, we talked. You had sent me a video, Nervardia, about mask with, I think it was Rashid Butter or Butar. I don't know how to say his last name, so we just called him Dr. Butt, because he negated his own argument within 5 minutes. It was quite impressive.
It was lovely.
Yes,
I love it when people do that.
So Dr. Barkey is along similar lines, not quite as bad as Dr. Butt, but Dr. B here, he's a hot mess.
Yeah, he basically just took all of the excuses as to why we shouldn't worry about coronavirus and played it down like it was, nothing more than a mild sniffle. And Mel and I were just going, no. So we both kind of went on a rant and a tangent, but it was a lot of fun.
And a lot of I make that face out loud moments.
Yeah. I do suggest you go and watch it because you do learn a lot from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, which is Mel.
Thank you. Whoops. Yes. Well, thank you. And you know what you're talking about too, Nervardia. So if you haven't watched that, I posted it on Twitter. I think Amiga Nuts was posting a link to that on Saturday from the show on Saturday. And so do give that a look. We will be taking it's a 22-minute video. And the first 10 minutes warranted an hour and a half of critique. So because it was so wrong.
Yes, I haven't seen the whole movie either, like the whole video either. I haven't seen the whole video either. So you're going to be seeing my reactions for the first time, my first time reaction. So
this will be fun. So what I'll probably do, I'll have the video up and we'll watch a little bit and then I'll pause and then I'll come back to this screen and we can talk about what we just saw. So I kind of go back and forth the way that it's set up for my purposes. I can't have us all on the thing at the same time because that's rubbing my tummy and patting my head, and I haven't sorted out how to do that technologically because I'm a bit dumb sometimes with that. So, but you want to
You're
talk
technologically
about, like, science, man. I got you. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm just I live in an imaginary land. I don't actually exist. I'm just a NASA shill. I'm Australian, or Australian. And so if you see there's a little bit of a lag, that's because we have to try and make sure the Illuminati is okay. Yeah. So just letting you know, if there's a little bit of a lag between us, it's because of the Illuminati. We're trying to get it fixed, but yeah,
we run on pixie dust though, and that's really hard to harvest. I mean, we got to go out and get some more fairies, man. We got to shake them, get the dust. All right, so hey to everybody in the chat. We got some of our usual suspects before I get started. Mistaken Reaper and families here, and we got Nervardia saying hey in the chat. What's going on? Pocus Focus is with us. Michael Roble. We got some people hopping over on Periscope. Amiga Nuts is here. Mr. Shadow Kitty, Buster P. Perry Pilot on Periscope is looking forward to seeing PragerU being destroyed. So do we. It's fun. It's fun. It's a good thing. Dynacat Leslie, what's up? All right, so let me pull up the video. I think we left off like right around 10 minutes.
And 26 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah, 10 minutes and 26 seconds. What's up, Matt? How are you doing? Matt's in the chat. Oh, God. That sounds like a song.
I see Michael W. Robel. Sorry if I've destroyed your name. PragerU doesn't offer any degrees. It's just a front for right-wing bullshizer.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That's quite accurate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up. Whoops, sorry. I'm going to put this. I don't need that screen anymore. See. All right, so I'm going to pull up this video. I'm going to have to do something different with Nervardia so you can hear the sound. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay, so here we go. This is Dr. Barkey. I kind of want to make that face to him anyway. Be like, hold up, Dr. Barkey. Just pause right there. Okay.
And stop talking. Just stop talking.
If you want to pause at any moment, I'll probably play a little bit, and then you can be like, "Oh my God!" I don't know. I guess it's okay to swear on this show. So.
Oh, okay. Thank
you
God
can
for
swear
that.
on our Sunday show. Saturday
awesome.
Show we don't swear so much because sometimes kids watch that, but you can swear on this show. It's fine. All right, let's hear what Dr. B has to say.
Grocery store. And if you're sick, putting a mask on to prevent your spread to others is not going to help that much. The best way that you can prevent the spread to other people if you're ill is to stay home.
Okay, so that was the last, I remember that was the last comment that you and I had that we were talking about with that, right?
Yeah, I think it was something like along the lines of that.
Around that, okay.
Example I like to give is I've got a patient right now who's suffering from stage 4 breast cancer, and she's finishing up a course of chemotherapy. As a result of the chemotherapy, her immune system is beat up. She's much more susceptible to getting infections because her immune system is beat up from the chemotherapy. So what we don't do in her situation is tell all her neighbors in her neighborhood to put a mask on and to socially distance. What we do is to tell her to be extra careful.
Okay, let's pick some of that crap apart because I'm really kind of just okay.
Okay. First of all, unfortunately, I'm sorry for interrupting because I know you're probably thinking along the same lines of this, but people who are immunocompromised are still humans and still social animals. So you're just saying, yeah, you just put yourself in isolation. We won't care about your own mental health, your own what you need as a human being. Also, you go and sit at home, and if you need to work, sorry. And ProU is the type of people who are like, socialism is bad, and so they're going to be talking about how that person should have made better choices in their life, and so they should go out and work. So
yeah, doo-doo is an accurate thing that he said. That's correct. Everything he says is doo-doo. Dr. Barkey. Actually, he's like, what you do? Yes, Dr. Barkey. What came out of your mouth was doo-doo. That's correct. So he's he's using something called availability heuristic here. Okay. There are people who can and will contract COVID-19 who have no pre-existing conditions. It's not exclusive to just immunocompromised people, people who have a suppressed immune system. It's not exclusively to that. We see very healthy young people. I think now the average infection rate is around 30s to 40s now with no pre-existing conditions. We're learning more now that people who have even mild symptoms have some permanent scar tissue in their lungs to where they didn't have any fever or anything like that. So he's taking this like, well, the high risk people, they should stay at home and not do anything. I guarantee you the high risk people are already implementing things to make certain they don't get sick further. But when you have something that's like a pandemic that is nationwide, with people who are asymptomatic carrying around these types carrying around the virus and transmitting it, I mean, they don't wear signs. I mean, it's kind of like how I feel about with whenever I talk about like being afraid of large groups of men or just men. If I'm walking around at night by myself, I avoid men because, I've kind of been programmed. I've been assaulted before, but they don't wear signs. You don't know if this guy is a nice guy. You don't know if that guy is a bad guy. Same thing. You don't know if this person is infected with COVID-19. Also, we had talked about condoms before on your channel. Condoms are 90 some odd % effective. They're less effective when you do certain things. But does that mean that you're just never going to wear a condom with people because it's not 100% effective?
Exactly. And also these using the same arguments that you hear all the time as, oh, it's only 2% of people are going to die or whatever. Okay, that's 2% of people, and you calculated that's roughly 6 million people in the US that will die if everyone got it. But everyone's forgetting it's a 100% morbidity rate. Mm-hmm. So that means that every single person who gets it will get sick. It might just be mild illness and you're feeling crap for a couple of weeks and you get minor permanent scarring on your lungs, or you've got people who will end up on respirators and have neurological disorders for the rest of their lives. What about those people? What about the people who are going to have a disability from this disease for the rest of their lives? Why aren't we talking about them? Why is there not more concentration on these people?
Well, it's just, it's just the mentality that they have that somehow personal responsibility doesn't apply here. Somehow personal responsibility doesn't apply here. What if I want to get drunk and drive my car? What if I want to get drunk? I reserve the right to get completely ass over tits hammered and drive a car into a cornfield. If it's my cornfield, I should be able to drive all that I want hammered and drive through my cornfield if I want to. No, that's not okay because it's still a hazard and a risk to everybody else. So I would love to have these people who seem to think that they have no personal responsibility use that in a court of law. Say, but Your Honor, I reserve the right to do this. I should be allowed. This is infringing my right to be able to get hammered and drive like a death machine down the street through a cornfield if I own it. It's still not cool. So it makes me nuts.
Well, the thing is, like, if you walked up to someone and just vomited all over them, like, that person would have a very good reason to, physically assault you. If I walked up to you and vomited, like, why am I vomiting? Am I drunk, or do I have a disease, or like, what's going on? And it's the same sort of thing. If you walk up to someone and cough on them, that's assault. And we mentioned last week, or not the other day, that that coughing on people is considered terrorism.
Yes.
It comes under terrorism laws, and that's
it does.
That's kind of the same thing. Like protecting other people from you is really important. Like I can't understand this mindset of if you are sick, you should take that personal responsibility to stop other people from getting sick.
Yeah.
And
but they think they're not sick. They're like, well, if I don't have symptoms, then I'm not sick.
But you could be. That's the thing. You could be.
Yeah, you could be. And and this is my personal opinion. I think the reason why a lot of Americans don't want to wear masks because I think it's a power thing. I honestly think it's power over another person kind of thing. They want the ability to be able to control another human being. I mean, and you look at a lot the trend. Now this again, I'm just these are observations. The people that I've seen primarily that don't want to wear masks, they don't want to do what they have to do to prevent the spread further. They're calling it all this. They are also far right individuals. They're Trump supporters. They don't see Trump as racist. They have no problem whatsoever with all of this. And they have issues with Black Lives Matter. And so a lot of the characteristics, and again, I'm looking at a small population only from what I've read on the internet, from what I've seen, from different videos. Y'all seen the same videos, come on. So it's like, from what I've seen, that seems to be the trend. And if that's the trend, the bottom line that I can think of is wanting power over another group of people. And they want the ability to be able to say, I can make you sick if I want to, if I'm carrying this. And it's like, I think it's a power thing. That's the only thing that makes sense in my head out of all of this. That's the only thing that makes sense.
I can understand the discomfort, because wearing masks, if you're not used to it, is very, very uncomfortable. But the thing is, like, beyond that, I kind of get where you're coming from. Like, there's this sort of I should be able to do what I want. I mean, as an Australian, the American idea of constant freedom and my freedom to be able to do whatever I want is a bit weird, because we as a country, as an Australian, we actually recognize that personal responsibility only goes so far, and at a certain point where we as a community have to rally together to support other people, and that's why, that's just, as an Australian, I just don't get this freedom sort of attitude that the Americans have. No, that's just me.
I guess. And some people in the chat saying I disagree with Mel. It's not a power thing. It's just personal discomfort. And that may very well be the case too. I'm just trying to understand a bit better because, and I wear masks. I double up on masks. I wear like the cloth one, and then I wear like the little gaiter thing that goes over the top, and then take them off and throw them in the washer when I get home. And I wear glasses, and so my stuff gets all fogged up, so I have to wear my glasses on top of my head when I'm trying to do stuff, and then I put it on my face when I want to see. Yeah, so it's a discomfort thing. Sure, that could very well be the case too. And believe me, my opinion is not the end all or be all. I'm just saying that was just personal observations on that. You want to try to watch some more of this crap?
Yay!
Okay, let's try to watch some more of this crap here. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I will say though, those are very pretty flowers.
They are pretty flowers. Okay. Let's see if we can get through some more.
She stays in her house. When she goes out, she's extra careful. She might stay away from people because she doesn't want to get an infection because her immune system is susceptible to that. We don't tell the whole total neighborhood to put masks.
You can't expect that to happen 100% of the time.
Right.
What if there's
unrealistic?
What if she's standing in line and there's a person behind her up in her, like, within, and she turns around and says, "Excuse me, I would like you to stand back. I'd like you to socially distance from me."
Right.
Like, how can he guarantee that person's going to do it?
Right.
It doesn't matter how good you are. I mean, I try to socially distance, and even still, people, like, you get small, you might see people in line in the at the supermarket, like the aisles are less than 1.5 meters apart.
Right.
If you want to cross past somebody else, like, you know, he can't guarantee it, neither can she. That's why, you know, working together as a social species that we are, we should be able, anyway, sorry.
It's okay.
I mean, that's ridiculous, but that's exactly what we're doing now. We've got a virus that isn't much more lethal than a bad influenza outbreak.
Oh,
yes, it's contagious. Yes, there's a lot of people with it, and it has caused a lot of death. No question about it. But we know about 50% of those deaths are in susceptible people that are older, nursing homes, and those with significant pre-existing conditions.
Stop. 50% of the people who have died are from people who are susceptible. So what about the rest of the 50%?
They don't matter. You know, they might have had a stroke, but they're fine. They're not dead. Maybe half their face doesn't work anymore, but they're not dead, are they?
No.
You know, strokes are a thing, man. You know, people are having strokes. And we're seeing in the recent autopsies for the COVID-19 patients that there's significant organ damage of all the major freaking organs. And it's not just people with pre-existing conditions. It's just the receptor that COVID uses to gain access to the cells is present just about everywhere in your body. So this isn't the freaking flu. Where's my Hulk? I have a Hulk somewhere. We're gonna Hulk smash in here. Oh my God. It's not the flu. And usually when people die of the flu, there's another thing attached to it, like pneumonia. Okay? So it's just, it's not the flu. Yeah. It's a full body thing. You want to yell a bit, Nervardia? Go ahead.
No, it's just the whole, it's 50% of the people who have died have a pre-existing condition, which means 50% of the people who have died do not have a pre-existing condition.
Yeah, and J.I. Person said, it's just the old and the weak that dies. You know, come on, guys. Who needs old people? Let's sacrifice grandma who made you cookies. You know, why not? She don't deserve to live. She should know better than to leave her house. How dare she? She better not even garden, you know, because what if somebody comes by and sneezes on her flowers and then she decides to go sniff or something like a few minutes later? That's her fault then for leaving her house. How dare she? Oh my gosh.
All right.
Okay, I guess.
Let's continue.
Let's see if we can do that. Look at that face.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like I'm biting my lip every time I watch this crap with this Yahoo.
And the longer this goes on, the more we're realizing that the young and the healthy are relatively immune to this virus. They do
lies.
Do well when they catch it. They recover quickly.
Whatever.
And they don't die from this virus. In children, they're so immune that they have a greater risk of influenza than they ever did from COVID-19.
Okay. Oh my God. Did you see? Okay. I'm a former public school teacher. I taught 5 years, physical science, biology, and chemistry, bio 1 and 2. We had shooter drills. Okay. So where I had to like cram kids in my lab closet, and we try to figure out how many kids we could put in that lab closet because it had a metal door. And so and then our classroom had a metal door. So that put 2 metal doors between us and the shooter. That was our plan. We had to cover all the windows, so we couldn't open the windows, because if we had an active shooter, they need to know that this room probably wasn't a classroom. They couldn't see in, so they could kill more kids.
That's not psychologically damaging at all, is it?
No, not at all. It was great. And so it was like we're pretending we're in the movies, guys. Who's going to be Rambo up in here and try to go and throw your shoe at a shooter? Because we don't do, what are you going to do? So we got that. And recently, Betsy DeVos, who is our head of the Department of Education, okay. She was like, she's pushing to reopen the schools. And she's like, only 0.2% of kids would actually die from COVID infection. Let's put a number on that.
Only.
That's about 14,500 kids. 14,500 kids approximately. Only 14,500 kids would die.
Only, yeah. Only that many. That's not much.
But hey, only 14K. That's an acceptable amount of child death. But
yeah.
But that's not talking about like maybe their guardians or grandparents, that'll bring it home to them, and then you're going to cause these kids to be orphans, that's great. Yeah. And we know how great the system here is for kids and, foster care. Best in the world. No, it's not. So, how's that going to work?
But those Democrats, they want abortion. They're killing babies.
Oh my gosh. Just 14,000 kids, Nervardia. That's okay, right?
Oh, totally. 100% okay. I think we should kill 14,000 kids every year.
The whole abortion thing too. You could have killed the baby that would cure cancer. What about them 14,000 kids that are going to die from COVID-19? What if one of them was going to be the cure? They don't. That logic apparently is not applied to this situation.
No, and nor should it be, because women should take care of and be responsible for their own actions. Even if they got raped, they shouldn't have had children.
How dare they? Don't they know that the easiest way to not have babies is just don't have sex, women? Y'all just don't have sex. Let the guys, they can have sex all they want, but women don't have sex. How's that going to work?
And also, let's stop people from getting contraception, because that's going to stop abortions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Let's watch more of this dummy.
Yeah, we're going a little bit off topic.
It's okay. Well, it's all relevant because this is kind of the same crap that they push, This is some of their arguments.
Which is why, by the way, I'm advocating open up the schools with almost no restrictions.
Oh,
we got to get the children back in the classrooms.
See, this is where I'm not. I don't condone violence, but I really want to punch him in the face. He has no idea what he's doing, and people are going to use what he says as like, oh, well, Dr. Barkey says everything is fine, but Dr. Fauci, forget him. He's only got like almost 30 years of expertise, but this Yahoo Dr. Oz wannabe suddenly knows everything.
That's what I was going to ask you about with.
Sorry.
I was going to point out, wasn't there a case of a 5-year-old girl getting killed by COVID-19?
I believe so. I think there were some other diseases that piggybacked onto it, and that was part of it. They're pretty resilient. Okay, let's talk about that for a second, I guess. So children tend to be pretty resilient when it comes to certain diseases, but you got to think about, all right, whenever you have a full body type of infection where lots of cells are damaged and that sort of thing, children haven't had their cells undergo mitosis as much as an adult, right? And so their cells are able to kind of replenish. And, if you were to take like a kid's liver and cut off half of it, The other half would grow and it'd be just fine and would grow rapidly. Kids can recoup quickly, but that doesn't mean there isn't any long-term effects. It just depends on the severity of the infection, how many things are like, diseased or infected at the time, and if any other diseases pop on. So I think the 5-year-old case that you're talking about, I think she had other things kind of piggyback on top of that COVID-19, which caused a problem. Most of them come back okay and fine because their cells can undergo that healing process a lot better than an older person could, because, we're getting older and we are subjected to what's called Hayflick's limit. Our cells will only divide a certain amount of times before they just stop. It's kind of like a number associated with our genes and all that. And it's different for everybody. But the more your cells have to undergo mitosis, the closer you are to reaching that limit. So, and kids are way far away from that. So that's all. Well, did you have something to add?
No, I'm just pointing out that a 5-year-old kid got killed by COVID-19. And...
Yes. But that's only 14,000 kids will die in the U.S. from that. It'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Don't
Sorry,
worry
I
about
keep
it.
forgetting about that. Yeah.
Just 14,000, man. That's totally an acceptable number. All right. It's almost like this is an endurance test to see how much of this we can actually handle, right?
Not a lot. I mean, we're 2 minutes in and we're already screaming.
We're not doing so great with this.
No.
Okay. Let's see if we can handle it.
Going back to school, do you think that's a good idea? And should they have to social distance and wear masks? And also, like, a lot of people are saying that these kids go back to school, maybe they won't die from it, but they're going to come back home and infect grandma with the virus.
Sure.
Very
So let's
good
talk
point.
about the kids first of all. We know that the kids are relatively immune from this virus. In Orange County, where I live,
okay.
you can count the number of deaths. Actually, you don't even need any hands to count the number
I
of
might have
deaths
to
in
jump
children
ahead.
because it's been 0. Across the country, the number of deaths in children have been very, very small. I think it's maybe 30 or 40 now.
Okay, just for a little bit more background, I taught in the public schools, but I also taught in a preschool before. I taught in a preschool for a couple of years before the age of 2. Schools are like a perfect petri dish of all kinds of nasty things. And it won't be just COVID-19. It'll be, if somebody gets COVID-19, there could be other things that piggyback on top of that. So they're just looking at isolated COVID-19 things. That's not what's going to kill the kids. It's going to be a combination of a lot of different things. But let's. Do you have a comment?
I do. And with the rise in anti-vaxxers, there's going to be measles is having a comeback in some areas. Measles is really weird in the sense that it actually causes immune amnesia.
Yes.
So it actually wipes out the antibodies for certain diseases, which is why when for some reason they couldn't figure out, and it wasn't only until a few years ago they figured this out, but when the measles vaccine came through, there was a sudden drop in a lot of other childhood diseases such as chickenpox, and they couldn't figure out why, and that was because measles wiped out the person's immune memory. So let's say a kid recovers from COVID-19, and because their parents are anti-vaxxers, they weren't immune against measles. So they got measles again, wipes out their COVID-19 antibodies, and all of a sudden they've got COVID-19 again.
Right.
So it's anyway, that's just what I wanted to point out. I wanted to point out that really scary piece of information about measles. Get your vaccines, everyone.
Get your vaccines. Oh my God. All right. I guess, okay, we'll get through this.
Back. We'll get it. We'll do it.
To calculate the fatality rate, you can't even do it. There's so many zeros after the decimal point.
Okay, didn't he say this earlier in the video?
He did, yes.
Okay, just as an aside, guys, if you didn't know, Dr. Barkey doesn't math so great.
No.
He doesn't math great at all.
No.
He seems to lack basic understanding of statistics, and yeah, he's actually been sued in the past for over-prescribing medications. So there you go. Let's just throw that out there. What else you got to say that's wrong, Dr. Barkey?
Again, they have a much greater risk of dying driving to school than they do of COVID-19. So it's clear that children aren't at risk. What they are at risk
driving death
from
is not contagious.
Right? Driving.
It's not contagious.
He said that before. He said that before in the thing too, right?
Yeah. Have you accidentally gone back?
I don't think so. No. It's at 1303 now.
Okay. Right. Just.
Okay.
delaying their education, from delaying their socialization, from keeping them home and therefore keeping parents who work home as well. That's a greater risk. Now, the question of
a greater risk of what? What is it a greater risk of?
Of not being able to socialize.
Okay. But, we have the internet. But okay, whatever.
Kids be an asymptomatic carrier and then spread it to an at-risk teacher? Very unlikely.
Very likely. Incredibly likely. You're wrong.
He's so wrong. It's just like, look at that. Oh God, whatever.
There's almost no scientific evidence that the main transmission vector is asymptomatic children.
Okay, I feel like he said asymptomatic children. Okay. All right. So from the show a few days ago on my Twitter, I posted a whole lot of citations. I posted same citations from my show from Saturday about asymptomatic carrying transmission. Okay, because Dr. Butt, or whatever, the conspiracy theorist person who anyway, there is data to suggest asymptomatic transmission is the Achilles heel of all of this. And so there's data for that. I posted citations on Twitter. I'll see if I can pull those up and put them in the comments here after the show. But he's flat out wrong, and he's lying.
Because how do you think this disease was able to spread so well? Because people were like, oh, I feel fine, and not knowing that they're, plaguing around the world.
Yeah, I know. There was a guy, I think his name is Richard Rose, who had posted on Facebook publicly how he was not going to wear any masks and back in April, end of April. He's not going to wear any masks. He's not going to do anything, blah, blah, blah. It's stupid. I've gotten this far. Gets tested for COVID-19 at the end of June, comes back positive, starts to quarantine, and is dead on July 4th.
That's really sad.
It is sad. Willful ignorance is lethal now. And so...
And I think people like Dr. Barkey, or whatever his name is, I think he's responsible. People like him are responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, I got Golden Coin sending me a question. I think I saw it before, and I meant to answer your question, so I'm sorry you had to resort to all caps, Golden Coin. I did not mean for you to get all Trump on me. That was my fault for not reading it the first time, because I was going to answer your question, so I don't want you to think I didn't notice. What's the chances that everyone will be infected? Pretty freaking high. If you're in the U.S., please just assume that you have it. Just assume that you're going to get it and that you have it. I'm under no illusion that I won't. I might have already I might have been one of the mild carrier people. I won't know 100% until I get an antibody test. But I don't want to deplete resources right now because I'm not on death's door kind of sick. You know what I mean? I would just assume everybody's going to get some strain of this virus. And the idea is, instead of everybody getting it all at once, we spread it out over a year so everybody can be treated and people don't die because of lack of medical care facilities. That's what flattening the curve is supposed to be. We're going to get it. So we're going to get it, okay? Hopefully we don't get it before we get the vaccine. But the vaccine, at best, will come out in January. That's the best case scenario. But that's when it's okay to use. Then they got to make a whole lot of them, which will probably take another 6 months. 3 months is pretty hopeful, possibly 6. But then, so we're looking at about a year from now, maybe.
Yeah, and a lot of people have asked me that, like, when do you think the closest we'll get to a vaccine? And I said, earliest July 2021, but more realistically, we're looking at July 2022.
Yeah, probably around
unfortunately.
Hello.
Yeah, this is going to be a long haul for everyone. Luckily, here in Australia, we actually have people who actually think that science is a thing, and also, luckily for us, we've also got we're a lot more dispersed, our population. So, yes, there are outbreaks. There's an outbreak happening right now in Victoria. There is a small outbreak happening also in Sydney, like in New South Wales. But in Queensland, where I live, we haven't had new cases for quite some time, except for one where it was a fly-in, and they knew that they had COVID-19 coming in, so they went straight into hotel quarantine. So we're really, really lucky, and our economy is opening up. We've got kids back at school. We've got, we're back to reasonably normal. We've still got social distancing and things like that. And I was listening to the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. So if you know of them,
yes,
you know
I've heard of them.
that they're very, very good. And they were saying that the longer during the 1918 pandemic, they said that the parts of the country that took longer to open up had a faster economic rebound.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the people who are pushing to open up the economy before it's ready they're going to end up damaging the economy longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of short-term pain for long-term gain. You're better off to have shut down for longer period of time.
Preaching to the choir here, as they say. No, it's fine. It's cool. All right, let's see if we can get through some more of this. Oh my God, it's just like, okay, all right.
And giving it to adults. That's just not a thing.
Yes, it is.
And if we're worried about teachers, then let's find a way to protect the teachers like we would with that cancer patient. We don't create protection, build a wall around that cancer patient by having the neighborhood wear masks. What we do is we protect that individual.
How are you going to protect that teacher from a bunch of kids?
Maybe a teacher might want to socially distance,
especially from an aerosol.
Kids. Stay further away because distance is a key.
Okay, all right. My sister was an elementary school teacher. There is no socially distancing with kindergartners or through the 4th grade. There's none of that. Yeah. And you can forget social distancing with high schoolers. They're going to be licking each other's face and do all kinds of stupid stuff. And they'll be sharing the same water. There's none of that. There's none of that. He's
key to infection. Maybe we even treat that teacher if they're at high risk preventatively so they don't get ill if they were to be exposed to the virus. But putting masks on
hang on. There's no cure for this disease.
No, there's not. We're just trying to keep the teacher from getting sick. Screw the kids. How is a teacher going to he keeps saying socially distance from the kids. How is a teacher going to socially distance from the kids? How is that going to go?
It's not. And also he keeps talking about the fact that people shouldn't have to socially distance from a person who is at risk.
Right.
But the Digger, is he not listening to how he's contradicting himself?
No, he's not. Yeah. He's a Dr. Oz wannabe, man. He's like, I'm on the TV, I'm on the YouTubes. God.
He's wrong. That's what he is.
Children, not only is unnecessary, but I think it's very unhealthful to do that.
Unhealthful?
What is the...
He just said, I think it's unhealthful.
He might have meant unhelpful.
Maybe.
we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
We're gonna
Let's
be
be
charitable there.
charitable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The issue with having your mask on and breathing your own CO2, isn't that a bad thing to do?
You know, we did an experiment
God,
in my
not
office.
this
We
thing.
have fitness
Let's see what his experiment is. He did science in his office. I want to hear about it.
trainers in my office. They're super healthy and very fit. And I check their pulse ox, a little oxygenation meter that you put on the finger that measures blood oxygenation. At rest, it should be around 98%, and on these two ladies, it was. Then we had them on a treadmill, walking briskly for a couple minutes, recheck their oxygenation in the same ballpark. Then I put a mask. One wore a surgical mask, and one wore one of those homemade cloth masks. We had them, again, walk briskly on a treadmill for a few minutes, oxygenation meter back on them. Both of them had significant drops in their oxygenation. One as low as 79%, and the other one was in the mid-80s.
I call lies. That's
Me too.
BS. That's absolute BS.
Okay, hang on. I don't know too much about the oxygenation levels, but I'm pretty sure that once you get to your high 70s, you've passed out.
Okay. So what he's
Is that right? I don't know.
What he's talking about, so when you go into like the doctor or something, they check circulation, and what they're looking for is oxygen in all of your digits and stuff. So they'll put a thing on there and they can read it, and so they can check what your oxygen content is in like your finger. And that's what he's talking about. So it's at 98%. That tends to be what you want, right around there, 98% oxygenation in your fingers and stuff like that. I'm gonna just flat out say he's lying. He's got to be lying, and it's a brisk walk on the treadmill. Well, they're really athletic. Did you have them running? Where's your data? Where's your pictures? Where's your video of this? This is all anecdotal, and for all I know, you're just making this up.
Yeah. And as we know, anecdotal evidence is not evidence.
I mean,
like you can get it. You can get enough anecdotal evidence to add to an aggregate of other evidence to make it evidence, but anecdotal evidence
on its own. No.
And as I mentioned last time we were talking, is that if you've got a study of 10 people, if one person's an outlier, then that means that it skews by 10%. But if you've got a study of 100,000 people and you've got one outlier, it skews the information by 100,000th. So he could have two people in his study that are an outlier, and he won't know.
N equals 2.
Yeah, and
his total, pool of subjects were 2 people.
Yeah, two people. And do you know what? I think you're right. I absolutely can guarantee you that you're right. He's probably lying, or he's he could have had the pulse oximeter on badly, like as they were running or something, or like there was no control other than there was no control of other people. Like that was a terribly designed experiment, and any peer review process would have that would never have been published in any reputable journal.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And so, I mean, there's been a lot of healthcare professionals going around wearing different types of masks. And if you know anything about healthcare professionals, often they're running back and forth on a floor. They have, they have crash carts. Code red usually means fire. I mean, they're just running back and forth all over the place, and they have to wear masks right now, and they wear them all day, and it's fine. I saw a picture of, and it was a meme, but it made me laugh pretty hard. So there are people who like to go hunting, and they hunt for deer out here where I live, and they'll buy deer pee and coat themselves in it so they can attract more deer. And then they've got like the camouflage on to where they're just their eyes are out. So if you can wear camouflage like that, starting at about 4 a.m, covered in deer pee, you can wear a mask. I mean, you know, that was the meme, and I had like several chuckles over that. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had a friend who was like, if you can have, this is a bit crude, so if you have sex in a GIMP mask, you can go shopping in a surgical one.
Oh my gosh. Somebody mentioned this guy's not worth covering. This guy's not worth covering because we're preaching the choir, but we can make fun of him. It's funny to do that sometimes because we got to laugh every once in a while.
Yeah, and also I'm putting this out because somebody made the same comment the other day. This is also a way for us to be able to explain to you why he's wrong and tell you the correct information to stop you, so you can rebut a lot of those arguments. But you know, preaching to the choir is fun, but also this is a way for you to be able to to go, oh, okay, all right, so this is what the arguments are, and this is how we can rebut it. Yeah. Going a little bit on tangent, but this is kind of why I think we should actually be teaching creationism in the science classroom, not to say, hey, this is what it is and this is true, but hey, these are the arguments and here's how we can rebut them. So it's often in a debate, it's often really, really good to understand the logic and the arguments for something that you are debunking.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Okay, let's see if we can get past this, because if he's staying on the kids, we can jump ahead if we need to, because he's, gosh.
So for a healthy person over a short period of time, probably not a problem. But to have somebody who's not fit, wearing a mask, exercising with a mask on, that's crazy town. And it's very unhealthy to do that. Not only that, after you've been breathing on that mask for 5 or 8 or 10 minutes, it gets really moist inside. And once that mask is moist, the ability of that mask to filter goes out the door. So its ability to filter viruses and other particles when it's wet drops precipitously. And so if you looked at a visual of the size of a coronavirus versus the size of the filtering ability of a mask, it's like the equivalent of building a chain link fence to try to keep out mosquitoes.
This is what Dr. Butt said. Okay, let's talk about this. This is what Dr. Butt actually said in there. And he refutes his own argument. You're breathing and your oxygen levels drop. It's 2 atoms together. O2. It's 2 freaking atoms attached together that are going, and you got this chain link fence. I can't breathe, guys. It's like, well, the virus is made up of thousands of atoms that come together to form molecules, and it's about the 10th of the size of a human cell. Okay, it's the 10th the size of a human cell, and it's made up of thousands of atoms. O2, 2 atoms. It can get through the freaking mask, guys. CO2, a carbon, and 3 atoms. He doesn't math so great.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't chemistry so great either.
No.
And the fact of the matter is, okay, so you're talking about the virus getting in, but we're not talking about the virus. We're talking about the aerosols where the virus is in.
Yes.
So the aerosols are even bigger than the virus.
Yes. The aerosols are bigger than the virus.
And then we're going back to the argument that we made earlier and also the other day, which was if something is 98% effective, like, why do we have to have perfection? 98% effective is better than 0% effective.
30% effective is better than 0% effective. And to be quite honest, there is more increasing data to show the more tightly woven, even if you don't wear the surgical masks, if you were like the t-shirt freaking mask, they make material that you can wear when you're running that wicks away moisture from you, and it keeps it in the material, and it's not on you. It doesn't leave the material. It stays in the material. You can get masks made out of that, and the tighter woven it is, the higher the chance, the higher let me go this way. The lower your risk, it lowers the risk of being infected with COVID-19. But the more layers you have, the more tightly woven it is, that sort of thing, that's going to do you better. And you don't have to wear a mask all the freaking time. I exercise at home. I don't go to the gym, so I don't have to wear a mask in my house. I wear a mask when I'm going inside a building. I don't wear a mask when I'm in my car. Why would I do that? I don't, I'll put the mask on when I'm going inside of the building, or if I'm going to be outside and around a lot of people, yes, I'll wear a mask. But your risk is high inside a building versus outside. And there's more information coming out with that. So it just makes me really just...
And also, like, going back, like, there's a lot of a lot of places where culturally you just cover your face. Like, you've got like the hijab, is it?
Yeah.
No, not the hijab. Yeah. Like, women have been wearing cloths over their faces for thousands of years. And then you've got people, due to weather, like, come on, Canadians would be able to tell you in the middle of winter, you need a mask on. Like, if you want to keep your nose, you need to wear a mask. It's sort of like all of the things that he is saying is just out flat wrong. Sorry.
Yes. Yes, it is. All right. Let's see if we can get through some more of this.
Gosh, I have to apologize to the people who are watching.
We are doing the best that we can. All right. Somebody, Amiga Nut, said, thank Ricardo Oliveira for this. He posted a link so you too can learn more about the hack that is Dr. Barkey or Dr. B. I don't care.
That's the size differential. So although the virus can travel in droplets and the masks can somewhat collect those droplets and prevent those droplets from going out, there's still a very imperfect mechanism to try to prevent the virus spread.
Something's better than nothing.
We have studies with influenza and the common cold that says
it's not
the flu and it's not the cold. Although a cold is a coronavirus, it technically is it's not the frickin' same.
Just don't work.
I always find it very funny when I'm walking my dog in my apartment complex, and there's people just by themselves running with their masks on.
It makes no sense.
I'm like, you can't breathe, man.
And there's gyms.
Oh my God, yes you can. How do people survive, I don't know, skiing out in the cold when they got their face covered with, ski masks and all that? How, they got their nose and their mouth covered and they're going, how do they breathe?
Why is it that masks suddenly stop making you being able to breathe as soon as it becomes political?
I have no idea. It's just...
that have opened back up, although I understand they're now going to be closing, where they require people to wear masks. You have people on treadmills and various machines breathing hard and exercising with a mask on. Very unhealthy, in my opinion.
In my opinion, yes.
By the way, you want the good news or you want the bad news?
I want the bad news.
The bad news is you don't have any immune antibodies, so technically you're still susceptible.
Oh, it came?
Oh, yeah. So if we look at this, you see a little line next to the C. That's the control line, which means it
not pregnant.
Yay.
Worked.
Yay.
There is no line next to the G. That's IgG or memory antibodies. And there is no line next to the M. The IgM line means you don't have any acute or active antibodies right now. So this is considered a negative test.
Okay, so he was just doing like I need to look into that test. I meant to look into that. I think that's a bit of crap there, what he's doing, but I'll verify. I will say nothing further than I don't think that's a COVID-19 antibody test he has. I'm not certain that it is. I need to check it out.
Okay. Also,
which means
at least he knows he's not pregnant.
Yeah, that's good. I was worried about that.
Technically, you're still susceptible, although you're young, and I really wouldn't worry if you caught the virus.
Oh, you should bloody worry about it.
Hey, if you get an embolism that causes you to have a stroke in your head at what do you think he is, 25 maybe? Maybe 25. Half your body don't work suddenly. That's okay. At least you survived the Rona.
Yep.
Did this pain on my finger for absolutely nothing.
You suffered for the good of the people that are watching this video.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. My pain
that wasn't suffering. You got a little prick on your finger.
Well, there are 2 pricks right there. I thought we discussed that last time.
Yeah, that's true. We did too. Look at that shirt. I'm sorry, but that shirt is hideous. I'm not attacking him. I'm just saying that shirt is hideous.
That shirt is pretty bad. It's like he walked into a Goodwill and says, "Give me whatever you got for $1.50."
Like I mean, I'm not trying to attack him as a human being. He's probably perfectly nice, maybe a little bit misguided, but he's definitely misguided when it comes to fashion. Yeah, it's just like, no. He
went into a charity shop and said, "What you got for $1.50?" And they're like, "Here you go. This is something."
Well, there's nothing wrong about going into a charity shop and buying something for $1.50.
Yeah,
but if you bought that new for $150, then there's something wrong.
Well, yeah, I don't have any issues with that. It's just I kind of stole that joke from Justin Timberlake. In one of his albums looked like, because he grew up in Tennessee, and the thrift shops in Tennessee, they're not just
don't.
He looks like he went to a thrift shop in Tennessee and said, "Give me what you got for $1.50." That's what I should have said. I messed up. Okay. Anyway.
You guys love that.
Exactly.
But let's talk about just going into I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just, we were talking before about how you had hydroxychloroquine that you prescribed to some patients, and you got some calls. What is the deal with this?
We were talking before we went live, and I literally got a text from the pharmacy that said they are refusing to dispense my prescription for hydroxychloroquine. Just
good. Oh my God.
Oh,
what is?
All right.
Let's see what he
yesterday,
says, and then...
a patient with very mild symptoms that tested positive for COVID-19. I wanted to treat hydroxychloroquine, Z-Pak, and zinc. Makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't.
The research and the studies are showing that for mild and early disease, it works wonderfully well. So the pharmacy called me up.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we gotta change it.
Oh my God. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. All of the studies, for the early studies with Raoul Didier, I believe that's his name, those were retracted. And so then somebody had mentioned, what about the Henry Ford study? They cited those studies as part of their paper. So number one, they're using retracted studies to reinforce their work. It's the Henry Ford Institute, where all of the studies there were funded by Henry Ford Institute. And all of the studies they cite were either retracted or studies within the same institute. This treatment killed veterans. There's one paper that's still technically under peer review. All of the patients who took hydroxychloroquine died compared to the ones who did not take it. They were all the same level of illness of COVID-19, but the ones who took the hydroxychloroquine, they died. All of them. There's nothing to support the use of hydroxychloroquine at all to help COVID-19.
Yeah, and not just that. Hydroxychloroquine is used for with people who have lupus. It also is used for people who have arthritis, and it is also used as a prophylactic against malaria.
Yes.
So the use of hydroxychloroquine against COVID-19 is not only killing people, and not only is it not effective in helping people recover from COVID-19, it's also removing drugs that help people who have genuine disorders or who are traveling worldwide in areas that have malaria endemic to it. So yeah, I'm glad and good. The pharmacy did the right thing.
Yes.
And congratulations. Well done to that pharmacy. And
I
thank
know.
goodness someone in America is like, no, we're going to listen to the science.
Yep. It's like the computer says, no, Dr. B, sorry. You don't get to just hand out hydroxychloroquine. We're not doing that. So it's just, oh my God. All right. We can get through this. I believe in us. I believe in us. This is taking a lot to have to get through this crap. Oh my God. Okay. All right. We only got like 4 minutes left.
Hello, Dr. Barkey.
So we'll be here
I
for
need to
another
know
hour.
why you're prescribing hydroxychloroquine. By the way, hydroxychloroquine is not a restricted drug. It's not like I'm prescribing OxyContin or Vicodin, where a phone call to verify the prescription would be appropriate. This is a non-restricted drug. It's been around since the late 1950s. There are literally, as you and I speak here, millions of people around the country, around the world, that take hydroxychloroquine for their rheumatoid arthritis, for systemic lupus. I would prescribe it routinely if you were going overseas to Africa.
Because that's what they're for.
That's literally why. The reason why they were ringing you and saying, hey, we're not going to do this is because it's not considered to be effective against COVID-19, and it has caused people to die due to long QR. Is it QR? Yeah, long QR. Yeah. It kills people.
It kills you.
If you don't, it's like why would you prescribe someone oxycodone or something if they're not suffering pain? There's a type of neurological pain drug called Lyrica. And yes, Lyrica is a fantastic pain medication, but it has also caused people to have suicidal ideation. Right. If you are a doctor treating a person who has who doesn't have neurological pain, if you give them Lyrica for no reason other than you can give them Lyrica and they go and kill themselves, it's the same sort of thing.
It's malpractice.
It is. And him giving this person a hydroxychloroquine prescription for something, if they have an underlying heart condition he doesn't know about, he could have just killed them.
Right. And it would be malpractice and they could sue him. Like he's been sued before, guys. He likes to just prescribe drugs. He seems to be the pusher. God, let's see if we can get further.
An animal park where they have malaria, I would prescribe it to prevent a malaria. It's very, very safe and I believe effective early on at treating COVID-19. But yet here I am challenged for the first time in my 30-plus career in medicine,
except for when
on a
you got
prescription
sued.
That is otherwise perfectly safe. A pharmacist calls and wants to know why. What did I say? Thanks for asking. I said, none of your business. This is between me and the patient.
Oh, no, it's not. My God. Oh my God.
That is not how any of this works. That's not. Your pharmacist knows exactly what your drug is for. It's they. Okay, I'm about to drop an F-bomb here. That's not very obvious.
Please do.
They fucking know what the drug is for. They pull you aside and they're like, okay, here are the side effects. You need to take this with food. If you start to have these types of symptoms associated, this is what it's treated for, blah, 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 all this other stuff. Your pharmacist is supposed to check. And that's the person you talk to about drugs. Okay, so I went to nursing school, got into clinicals. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this. You learn so much. Doctors don't learn a lot about pharmacy. Nurses learn more about pharmaceuticals than doctors do because they're the ones who are liable if a patient has a reaction, if they were allergic to penicillin and the nurse gave them the drug. Even though if the Dr. B here prescribed it, the nurse is liable, not Dr. B, because the nurse gave it over. That pharmacist would be liable for giving a medication to a patient if they had a reaction or gave them the wrong dose or any of that. If they didn't sit there and get like, are you allergic to any of this? Do you have allergies to morphine or stuff like this? They have to go through before they hand it over to you. So no, that pharmacist knows exactly what these drugs are for, and they are allowed to call the doctor and say, why are you prescribing this? They're not going overseas. They don't have lupus. Why are you prescribing this? And if he goes, it's none of your business, like, well, then I'm not giving the drug. Too bad.
Yeah. No, I think this pharmacy did the 100% correct thing. And well done to that pharmacy. And holy moly, I cannot believe that reaction, reaction, like, come on, how arrogant can you get?
He got his little ego hurt, didn't he?
Oh, holy moly.
How dare you question me? I am a doctor of 30 years. Clearly you're bad at it.
You know what? You can be a doctor of 30 years. It doesn't mean that you're a professional. Like, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry, you can still be bad at your job.
Yes. I mean, look at Ben Carson. He's not very smart, and he's the brain surgeon. I mean, you can get through med school and still be a few fries short of a Happy Meal, have your burger gone, and give your toy to Trump. And you're still, you're just not all there. And that's fine, but certain people should not be practicing medicine. And this Dr. B knows damn well that pharmacist can tell him no. And it is not he doesn't get to go, it's none of his business. How dramatic have you? This is between me and my patient. See, this is why.
No, it's between him, the pharmacy, and the patient.
Yes.
It's between.
Yes. Your pharmacist knows your health history, and they have access to it. And if there's a question, they call and find out because, they don't want to be sued either. So, oh, God. Okay, let's see what else garbage. Look at that. And, look at him. It's none of his business.
Just the arrogance emanating from that person. Anyway.
I prescribe other medications. I would respectfully ask that you fill the prescription and not challenge me on my prescription.
Okay, how can you?
That was my response.
No, stop. You can't say I respectfully ask you not to do your job. Don't do your job because it hurts my feelings. That's literally what he's saying. There's no respectfulness about that. You can't. Oh my gosh! Jesus fucking Christ!
Response. Ultimately, she backed down and said, "Okay, Dr. Barkey, I'm just sorry. I've been told that I'm supposed to call and verify." And ultimately, they prescribed. But today, now, a pharmacist is refusing to prescribe, so we're now having to find a different pharmacy that is willing to dispense the product. It's ridiculous.
Can you pause that? Can you pause that?
Sure.
I kind of feel sorry for that woman because he was like, I'm sorry, I backed down. She just got intimidated by him.
Yeah.
It was I don't know, I think you'd probably be able to express more in the culture in America in regards to doctors talking to female pharmacists, like male doctors talking to female pharmacists. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Honestly, that's one of the reasons. That was one. So I left nursing. I could be a nurse in less than a year, and I've got I could just probably run a floor with my education at this point. But that's one of the reasons why I left the field. I was like, I don't want this because of doctors like Dr. B and other nurses who were just so salty because of the abuse that they regularly got. I saw doctors abusing nurses. Doctors saying, why didn't you give my patient this drug? And the nurse is sitting there going, because they're allergic and it would have killed them. You're welcome. And see, all these nurses like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just like, now see, I don't have that. I would have had to do a lot of breathing. I'm like, okay, look here. Because my patience for abusive people is about that much. You better, like, you say something to me, I'm going to take a breath, then you better calm down, or we're going to have, like, we're going to end up in an office somewhere, like, having, you know, an intervention or something. But I couldn't. My patience for stuff like that right now is so small. I just can't. And people like him is one of the reasons why I was like, forget it. I don't want to be a nurse. I'm like, it is not worth that. And if you were to call a pharmacist behind a doctor's back, they would yell at you. How dare you call the pharmacy and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And they'd go off on you, like, because this particular patient, this isn't the best medication for them. This pharmacist recommends this because of their size, blah, 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 their conditions, all of this. If you want to know about drugs, you talk to a pharmacist, not a doctor. Doctors don't know as much about drugs as pharmacists do. They are the ones that can say, no, doc, we are not going to give this drug out because that's not what it's for. And if this doctor doesn't like it, he's got to find an unethical pharmacist.
Which he did.
Yeah, seems so. All right. We're almost done. We're almost done.
Almost done.
We're in the home stretch. I can feel
Yay!
it. Oh my gosh. This guy. Okay.
Crazy town right now, what's going on.
Yeah, I know. I want to end it on this, that, you know, you're just talking about how it's crazy town right now in America, closing down the country again, even with all the data, supporting other avenues.
Yeah, we're watching it.
What is the truth and what is political about this? What are the things that we actually know that we can all agree on? And what are the things that have been totally politicized by this?
You know, that's a great question. And I follow Dennis Prager's motto, and that is first.
Okay.
Okay. As a general red flag, if someone says, I have the truth, they don't.
Yeah.
As a general red flag, if they are like, I know everything, I have the truth, they don't. So, yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind as this guy starts spewing what is clearly not the truth.
Yeah. He has the true knowledge.
Yes. I'm not saying I have the truth, but I'm pretty sure we can debunk what he is about to say with actual scientific basis, science backing it up kind of thing. Anyway, he did say, could you rewind a little bit? Because I heard something he said, so maybe go back 5 seconds or so.
Here we go.
And said, okay, Dr. Barkey, I'm just sorry. I've been told that I'm supposed to call. It was what they prescribed, but it's ridiculous. It's crazy town right now, what's going on.
Yeah, I know. I want to end it on this, that, you know, you're just talking about how it's crazy town right now in America, closing down the country again, even with all the data, supporting other avenues. What is the truth and what is political about this? What are the things that we actually know that we can all agree on? And what are the things that have been totally politicized by this?
You know, that's a great question. And I follow Dennis Prager's motto, and that is first tell the truth and then give your opinion. And I try to do that in my blog posts. As a matter of fact, I'm writing a book as we speak, COVID-19, My Prescription for Liberty. And it highlights some of those myths that are coming out about COVID. So what are the truths? It's a dangerous virus. It's very contagious.
That is true. That is true. What?
Susceptible, and you live in a nursing home or an extended care facility, or you have significant underlying medical problems. It's a dangerous virus. A lot of people have died from this. Okay. If you're a young person, though, it's not dangerous and it shouldn't be feared.
That's where you're wrong.
We can't live our life with fear. We need to live our life fully with information and with mitigated risk. So that's the truth. And there's a lot of opinions and a lot of misinformation, a lot of fear-mongering on the media. My advice is turn off the TV. You can read the CDC website that has a lot of good statistics. You can certainly follow my blog and my posts as well. I try to
follow my blog.
Yeah, he just said go to the CDC website. It's got a lot of good information, and almost every single thing that he said in this video has been debunked by the CDC.
Yes. Well, okay. Let's finish this, and then it's almost done, and then I got a whole lot of stuff we can say. Yeah. So.
Okay, cool.
Differentiate between a fact and statistics that I give and my opinions on those facts as well. But it's important to not live your life with fear and get about your life and mitigate risk. If you get sick, you get sick. If you're a young person, I'm not worried. Find a doctor that understands this, that's willing to treat you if you were to get sick, and you should be just fine.
My hand is healed now. I can shake your hand. Thank you so much, Dr. Jeff Barkey. We really appreciate having you here.
That's Barkey.
Where can people
Barkey.
find you?
Okay.
So you can find me on Instagram.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't want to know where to find you. Okay, sorry. There we go.
Oh,
I know. It was terrible. He's like, there were so many things that went through my head that I wanted to say, and then they left because I'm just raging right now. He's so wrong. And okay, I remember what it was. So on Saturday, I talked about Dr. Butt, who says the same thing Dr. Barkey does. And what's interesting is they all have the same type of pattern, okay? They say things and they use analogies that have nothing to do with what is actually going on, like with the car accidents and flu and cold. There's no connection there with COVID-19, but those are things that the general population is familiar with.
Are you saying that COVID-19 is absolutely nothing about the way that a duck flies?
I know, it's weird, huh?
It's bizarre.
It's strange. But the thing that they do is they'll go through and then how it is that people like this get away with stuff like that is, okay, he's a medical doctor. He has a bit of authority. So you have to convince the people listening to you that you are an authority in this. And so he's wearing his lab coat. That means that he takes on some responsibility for what he's saying. I mean, we had the Milgram experiment and all kinds of stuff to even kind of reinforce that mentality. But then all of that responsibility falls onto him, because if people do all this other crap, then clearly he's at fault if he's wrong. Well, he doesn't care if he's wrong or not in this case. Secondly, now that he's established that he's an authority figure, he'll use analogies that people can relate to like a person who isn't critically thinking, like a whole chunk of the U.S. They're going to buy into that and be like, well, you know what, that does make sense. You know, if 1 + 1 = 2, then that means you shouldn't wear a mask. I know, right? I shouldn't wear a mask because 1 + 1 = 2. This makes so much sense. It's the same kind of thing. Well, he's an authority figure. Then he throws out sciencey sounding words to kind of reinforce that mentality. Well, here, now I'm going to talk about these particular words. And then he starts talking about oxygenation on your finger, you know, and he uses all of the higher tech type of things, and then he brings it back down. But then it's all about, you can go and check out my blog. Yeah, I'm writing a book for this. You can read my book. And so that's where the grift plays. So finally, he's got the call to action. You need to question everything. Be certain you question that. And you know what? I'm a doctor and I'm here to help you. So you got the buy-in, you got the call to action. It's always the same freaking pattern with these guys. Always the same.
In that case, everyone subscribe to Scientist Mel, because she knows exactly what she's talking about. She's writing a book. I don't know if you are, but
I maybe. I've been trying for a while. That's a lot of work, man. And subscribe to Nervardia over here. Please do subscribe to her. She's pretty awesome. She has a great snake and everything. I think the chat had a lot of things to say.
Yes, let's go through the chat.
Let me start with the most recent comments. If you put 2 and 2 together, you can get either 4 or 22 or a stack of 2s, says Jay Pearson. Fair enough. Oh, and Amiga Nuts is shilling and killing like a villain.
Yep,
right?
She's doing a great thing.
Yep. Let's see. Let me catch up. They call him Dr. Butt. They call him Dr. Butt. He's got the crap Trump's dreaming of. That's Tubi and 323. It's got a song. I would like to hear that song. Let's see. I don't want you to self-harm. Me, I'm an idiot, says Amiga Nuts to Pocus Focus. Okay. Artemis brain sample. Hey, Mel, I'm sitting here with the half that has her master's in neurology, and she suddenly loves my online friends. Well, that's awesome. Oh, my goodness. Let's check out. Brian Harris says, a 17-year-old teenage girl died last month from COVID-19, so fuck you, doc. This is Brian Harris. Fair enough. Crane-wise, Urban Homestead on Periscope says, he knows most people won't go look and investigate. That's correct, too. Oh, my gosh. Truth is a philosophical issue. Facts and data speak for themselves. Says Pocus Focus. Fair enough. Let's see. Did you see something, Nervardia?
There's Pocus Focus also says, yay, I can stop slamming my head into my desk. Yes, I've been feeling that too.
Fair enough. St. Thomas Aquinas, I guess that's how you say it, is blessings and goodwill be upon Scientist Mel. Thank you. And may the force be with you.
Also, Head Cynic says, also, if you see several doctors for various specialities and a dentist have prescriptions filled at the same pharmacy, that pharmacist knows what all of them are prescribing. Yep, so that's true.
Yeah, they're on top of that. If my pharmacist doubts my physician, I'm looking at a new doctor. I will weigh their liability against my emotion. Artemis brain sample.
Wonder Lady made a really good one. Considering a bad dosage of an inappropriate medication almost killed my friend this week. This topic is a bit triggering. I thought my friend had a stroke. It was so bad.
I am so sorry, Wonder Lady.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that as well. But that just brings up how incredibly dangerous badly prescribed, like doctors like this, where it's like, I will not be questioned. How dangerous these people can be.
If doctors are not willing to be questioned, if they're not willing to, sit there, and I've gone to doctors where, if I was concerned about something, I'd go in and I had access to papers, I'd read the latest science on it, and I'd go in and I'd ask them, and then they'd be like, okay, I think she might be smarter than me. It's like, I have to be careful. This one, she's got the questions. I have to study for her when I will, but it's fine. Always consult your pharmacist about new prescriptions. That is correct, Brain Bug. That is correct. And yeah, I think a lot of the chat was just absolutely shocked by Dr. B.
Yeah, I was absolutely shocked when he was like that. Don't question my authority.
If you have a doctor like that, you need a different doctor.
You definitely do.
I'm trying to catch if anything else. I think, let's see. Pocus Focus says, Scientist Mel, personally know my local CVS pharmacy because I have helped take care of my grandparents for years. Asked her about what this stuff. She gave me the stink eye until I explained myself. So Pocus Focus asked about hydroxychloroquine. Oh my goodness. Oh God. Yeah.
Would you be able to talk a little bit about zinc? Because I keep hearing that people are like, oh, zinc deficiency, like zinc will help against COVID, which I don't think so.
I think that came from the idea like that Raoul Didier paper, who he's now the Andrew Wakefield, because he's the one who was like hydroxychloroquine. But he's like, and you add it with zinc, then that means it's going to kill, and handle the virus. It doesn't do that. So a lot of the zinc stuff is likely stemming from, well, if you take hydroxychloroquine, and this Dr. B here said, well, I had that with zinc in a Z-Pack, what you would use for the flu. Essentially, it's like an antiviral that if you take those little Tamiflu within the first day or so of onset of symptoms for influenza, it shortens the life or the span of your symptoms in your illness. So he was prescribing that with zinc and hydroxychloroquine. And so there was rumors with no evidence saying that zinc with hydroxychloroquine was a treatment for COVID-19.
Because I remember I was talking to somebody on Twitter about it, and they're like, oh, zinc, because, one of the symptoms of having a zinc deficiency is a loss of smell. And, one of the symptoms of COVID-19 is a loss of smell, therefore zinc. And I was like, no. Because my response was, a lack of iron can cause lethargy and being tired all the time. Do you know what else causes lethargy and being tired all the time? Sleep deprivation.
Yep. Yep. It's almost like, it feels a bit like homeopathy sometimes with what they do, where they sit there and go, all of these symptoms here, that's associated if you drink this poison here. So we're just going to dilute this poison to where it's primarily water, where there's no detectable compound whatsoever, but it remembers. And so that's going to mimic and kill off your symptoms. It's canceling it out. So if you have all of the symptoms of this particular disease and it's like you've taken poison, just take the poison and it cancels each other out. That's how that works. Yeah. I mean, it's that mentality. It's crazy.
I'm just going through a little bit further up. A very stable milking school says, breaking, man in white lab coat paid lots of money to lie for PragerU. Pretty much.
Yeah, probably. And he goes, I go by Dennis Prager's motto, speak the truth and give your opinion.
Yeah, it would be nice if your truth was actually based on bloody reality, but
maybe it's true in his head in backwards land where nothing works like it does and the laws of physics don't matter. Maybe it's truth in that fictional world. It's true somewhere. It's like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get hammered at 7 a.m.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. I don't think we have any other. Zinc, law of similarities works as well as homeopathy. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right.
Weed makes my eyes tired. Yeah. Although there is something I do want to say, because I'll just refer back to the Skeptic's Guide. They apparently they're looking into a material that when wet creates a charge, an electric charge that may help destroy like COVID-19 or viruses. And I think it's a print. They print. I think it was silver and another sort of metal, and they print it on top of the surface of the cloth, and so once it gets wet, it creates a bridge which sends an electric charge through it, destroying
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and so far it's looking promising. We'll just see what it looks. Yeah, they'll see what it looks like as it, having a proof of concept is great, but being able to make it into something more, something bigger, more industrial size, could, there's always something that comes up. But yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd point that one out because, that's cool. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. We're like over an hour and a half now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. Sometimes it goes as long as 2 hours. But I want to keep you much longer. I know Notch has probably had it with us.
Probably.
He's probably had it. He's like, I've had it. Peace out.
Oh, fair enough.
But, okay. So tell everybody where they can find you and the stuff you do and everything.
Okay, so my channel's name is Nervardia. My name's Meredith, but you can call me Nervardia because everyone else does. I have a YouTube channel where you can, there's lots of science, there's lots of atheist, lots of advocating kind of stuff on it. So there's a bit of something for everybody. The occasional snake video comes out. And you'll find me mainly on Twitter. If you want to talk, contact me, go through Twitter. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And links are in the description. So like, share, and subscribe. It was awesome having you here, Nervardia. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on. Thank you for coming on the other day as well.
It was
for the first
awesome.
heart.
It was a lot of fun. So, even though we were watching hot garbage, we had some funny moments there. It's just trying to get through, man, right? All right. Well, thank you guys in the chat. Check us out. I'll be back here Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central, for the latest and greatest in sciencey things, science news. We talked, I kind of got a little crazy with Dr. Butt, but we talked about how to tell when you're being grifted, right? Recognize the grift. All right. Well, thank you again, Nervardia. Thanks to the chat. We will see you guys next time.
And don't forget, don't give yourself the raw prawn.